Hello coders, welcome back to my session, and in this video I'm going to teach Spring Boot mapping. So in Spring Boot mapping normally we have four types of mapping concepts. So one-to-one mapping, one-to-many mapping, many-to-one mapping. Also we have many-to-many mapping. So for that, first in this session I'm going to teach you how to do one-to-one mapping. So let me tell you first of all why we need to use one-to-one mapping, one-to-many mapping. So like in our project, when we working with multiple entity classes, in that case we need to interact with one entity class to another entity class. Like for example, if I'm going to enter the table, enter the values for one single entity, as well as automatically the another entity class should receiving some values. For example, so let me tell you, when the customer buying any products in the shopping mall, so the customer ordering the product. So when the customer entering the order, so there are two tables. One is customer detail, also the ordering the products. So in that cases, when any customer putting their order, it receiving by two tables, but that value directly can send to the customer table. So from the customer table, the order can, the order table can get the values indirectly. So in that between the table, two table, customer and order, as well as the product, in between these three tables, we are using the mapping for sending the data from one entity to another entity. So first I'm going to explain one-to-one mapping. So for that I'm going to take one example for one-to-one mapping. So for going to create one Spring Boot project for one-to-one mapping, I'm going to take two entity classes, user, user to profile, user and a profile entity classes I'm going to take. So in this I'm going to give the value for the user. So the user data I'm going to given. Okay, so the input going to given to this user entity class. Okay, but that profile entity automatically taken a value from the user entity class. Let's in between this I'm going to make a mapping. Okay, how we are going to connect these two entity classes? We are the user entity. How I'm going to send the data from user entity into the profile entity. So this is a today session topic. Let's going to see. So for this I'm going to create one project. Everyone do along with me. So go to file and go to new, select Spring Starter project, and here you can give a name for the project is one-to-one mapping. And the project type is Maven, packaging type is jar, and the version is Java 17, and language is Java, and the group package name is I'm going to given is com.tamil, and artifact is the project name. If you want you can change, and the description I'm going to give. This is the example of one-to-one mapping in Spring Boot, and the package type is, package name is com.tamil.one-to-one mapping, and click on next. And here I need to set the dependencies which I want. So first of all I'm going to add Spring Web. I'm going to select Spring Web dependency, which is we already discussed in the previous videos in Spring Boot tutorial. We already done one backend application in Spring Boot by using Java. So those people that missed that video, so please go back and watch that one. I will give the Spring Boot backend application project, how we can create it, that video, and given in the comment box. In the description I will give, so everyone go to check and watch that, and then if you are watching this one, then it will be easy to understand. And next tool is Spring Data JPA. And next we need a MySQL driver. So because I'm going to create a database in MySQL driver. And next time I need to add the Spring Boot Dev Tools. So Spring Boot Dev Tools. Okay, these are all the 4 tools we need to add: Spring Boot Dev Tools, Spring Data JPA, Spring Data JPA for working with the Hibernate Java Persistence API, which helps to create a table automatically, and MySQL driver for connecting our project into the database, and the Spring Web. Normally for every Spring Boot project we need a Spring Web tool. So these are all the 4 tools, dependencies we need to add. So click on finish, and it is loading. Please wait. So now the project is downloaded, and let's going to explore what other things are there. One main package is there, so which is we created when we create this project, and from the main package we have only the main program. Actually, we need a separate packages for every class files. So in this project I need a class files like, first of all I need a entity classes. So first I need a entity classes like user and profile. User and profile, I need to create entity class for this. And second, I need to create the repository interface. So repository I need. So in repository we have two entity classes. So I need to create 2 repositories for user and profile. So I need to create user repository, as well as I need to create profile repository. These 2 interfaces I need to create, and then I need to create a service class. Service class commonly here this is one-to-one mapping. So I need to create a service class for user entity class, because I'm going to give a value only for the user table. From the user table, the profile entity class can get the values automatically. So I'm going to create I need to create a user service interface for declaring the methods, which is going to implement in the user service class. Next, for the implementation of user service, methods to implementation class. So these 2 classes I need to create, and the 4th one is the controller. So in the controller I need only for the user controller class, because actually the profile automatically gets the value. So this is one-to-one mapping. So one instance getting the data, only one instance passing the data. So here I need to create 4 packages. In that 4 packages I need to create all these classes. Let's going to create first of all the packages. So right click the main package and go to new, select the package and put the dot nearby the main package name and give entity. Click on finish. Like that same, you need to create repository, service and controller. So next package is dot, put the dot and repository package, and next again right click, go to new package, repository after service, put the dot service, and next put the dot controller. So these are all the 4 packages we need. Let's going to create an entity classes first of all. So right click the entity class package and go to new, click on class. So in the class name you need to create 2 classes. One is user, another one is profile. So first I'm going to create a profile entity class. So in profile entity class I'm going to set, this is the entity, so I'm going to give an annotation here, and for this annotation we need a import statement. So you just simply take the cursor point and put it on the entity word. It's showing the import statement, or else no worries, you can type directly import Jakarta dot persistence dot entity, and put the semicolon Jakarta Yes, that's it. And now we're going to create a variables. Private. I'm going to create first id is a variable, and string bio data, and string address, and next a social media link. That's it. And it's going a longer session, so keep watch fully. So these are the 4 variables I need to get in the profile entity class. Now for this I need to create a getter and setter methods. So right click, go to source, select generate getter and setters, and I'm going to select the variables, click on generate. Yeah, we're going to create another entity class. Now you can save this. Also here I need to set the id is a primary key, and also it is a automatic generator. So I'm declaring the annotation id, as well as I'm going to enter generated value automatically concept type. So id automatically will get the value. We don't worry about to give the id. So the type is identity, and semicolon no needed. For this you need to create a put the import statements for generated value. Also put the import statements. That's it, and save this. Yeah, we done one entity class. Now we move on to the user entity class. That is main thing, because the user only we're going to enter the data. So right click the entity class, entity package, and go to click on class, and here you can give a name. User is the entity class name, and similar as here you can give entity annotation entity, and for this we need a import statement, and inside that we need to create a variables like long data type id variable, and private string name, and in private we need to declare the email email, and then in private I need to declare the phone number in string, and then I need to declare the address. That's it. Now the thing is, I'm also reading the date of birth for the user. So for that I'm declaring the data type as date, and I'm declaring the variable is date of birth, and put the semicolon. Let's for the data type you need to import the statement. Date is in a class, you need to import the type of this class, util. So I import util package. That's it. Similar as you need to do the things are which is already given in the profile. And save this. And next, for the date object, you need to set the data type. When I sending the data to the server, we are using MySQL. So in MySQL, we need to set the data type. For other data types are all string and long only, but here the date data type you need to set by explicitly by the programmer only need to set the date data type in the server in the MySQL. Why? Because automatically the date object can get the date and time data type in the MySQL database. So for that reducing the confusion, we're going to fix the temporal annotation, and here I'm going to set type dot date. So for this also we need to insert the import statements. That's it. Now another thing is I need to create a one-to-one mapping. So I need to create a relationship between user table and the profile table. I'm going to create profile class reference in this user entity class. So profile is a class name, and semicolon, and as well as you for this profile object, for this profile reference, you need to set the one-to-one mapping here. From the user table to the profile, we are creating a relationship of one-to-one mapping. So from here I'm assigning the value for the user, as well as I'm given a value for the profile. So I put the one-to-one annotation. So by using this annotation we can achieve the one-to-one mapping. Also the cascade type you can set cascade type all, which means it allowing the merging both the table, or if you want to sending that data from one table to another table. So for that you can set cascade type equal to all. We have a multiple options. Later we can discuss about this cascade type, why we need to give a cascade type all. So for everything you need to add the import statements. Yeah, now I generated the relationship, but I need to set the primary key and foreign key. From this table, I'm passing the data to the profile table, so that I'm joining the two tables. So for joining two tables in SQL, we are using primary key and foreign key. So you can use the annotation of join column. So first, which I'm given a foreign table is, I'm going to set to the foreign table, that is profile foreign key, that is profile ID I'm given in this table. This is the foreign key of profile ID. This is the foreign key of profile table. So this profile ID column will automatically generate in this user table. It always related to the profile table. And for referring the primary key from this table, I could like to take the ID variable is a primary key in the user table. User table is the first table and the profile is the second table. So from this user table, I'm going to take ID as a primary key, and for profile table, I'm going to create profile ID is a foreign key. And the primary key I need to set referenced column name equal to ID. ID is a column name. So this is the primary key of user table, which is already declared here. And this profile ID is newly created for the profile entity class. This is the foreign key. And for join column, I need to add the import statement. Now I need to create a getters and setters method. Right click and create for all the variables, as well as we need to create a getter and setters for the profile reference also. So I'm selecting everything here, including the profile reference. So click on generate. Now it is generated, as well as, yeah, we done for the two classes, we done. Now we're going to create a now we're going to create a two repositories for this two entity classes. So right click the repository package, go to new, select the interface, and that interface name is, for first I'm going to create profile repository, profile entity. For profile entity class, I'm going to create one repository, profile repository. Click on finish, and here inside, before I'm going to extend this repository with our JPA repository for working with the CRUD operations method. So JPA repository, which is inbuilt, we already know this, and we already done this project. One backend application project we already done. And here you need to set the generic type. The generic type is profile, is the entity class name, and the ID data type is, ID wrapper class type is long for the entity class. Also I need to import the header files. For the entity class also I need to import the header file. That's it. I can save this, and like this I'm going to create a user entity class interface repository. So the name user repository. Click on enter, and this repository extends with JPA repository, similar as we already done the profile repository. Also we need to set the generic type. Entity class is user, and long is the wrapper class of ID variable. And import, the spelling is mistake, and entity class. That's it. Save this, and next I'm going to create a service, a user service. So right click the package of service class, go to new, and select the interface. First of all, for all service method, you can create an interface. So I'm given user service. I'm creating user service and click on finish. So in this interface, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a methods for the CRUD operations. So for save a new user, I'm going to create one method with the data type of entity class user, entity class data type, and the method name is save user. And in the parameter we need to pass the entity class object, and this is the method. I need to import the entity class import line and save this. And also as well as I need to retrieve the record. So for retrieving the record, I'm going to declare get all users. I'm going to create on another method get all users, semicolon. And for this method the return type is list class. So why I'm using list class? Because every single record is an object, so that's why we need to collect all the records into the list collection. That's it. In the future class we can additionally add some other methods like get by specific ID, updating the record, and delete. Everything we can add in the future classes. And for these two methods we're going to implement these two methods into user service IMPL class. So let's create user service IMPL class. So the class name is user service IMPL, and click on finish. And here I need to set the annotation service. Service is the annotation, and first I need to create a reference for object for user repository. So from that only I can able to call the CRUD operation predefined methods. So normally I have created my own methods. These are all my own methods, but for saving the record, okay, for saving the record we have a method, save method, which is present inside the JPA repository. So that's why we created an interface object for we need to create an interface extends with the JPA repository, that is user repository. So from this user repository interface only we can able to get the save method which is present in the JPA repository. So that's why I'm creating my own method, that is save user. So inside, when I'm implementing this save user method, so this method inside I'm going to call that predefined save method from the JPA repository. So what we do now, from the JPA repository I need to call this I need to call the save method. I need to create a user repository object here, then only we can able to call the all CRUD methods. So in private user repository, and user in small letters you can use user repository is the object for this, and set auto void annotation for this because we need to get automatic object. So auto void, and also user repository need header file. That's it. And now we are ready to call. Now we have two own methods. One is save user, another one is get all user. So now I'm going to override this save user method to this IMPL class. Save a new record, new user, override, put the override annotation. Now you implement that save record, save user method. The return type is user, and save user is the method name, and inside that you can pass the parameter of user entity class object, and inside you can return the save method. So for calling the save method from the CRUD repository, you need to use the user repository object dot save, and inside this save method parameter you can pass that object which is get here. And also I need to implement this user service IMPL class into the user service interface. That's why it's showing error here. So I can implement the user service interface to here. Also this method is public. That's it. I need to import the user entity class. Yeah, I have done one method, still that error showing because I need to override another method, because in user service we have two implemented classes. Another one is get all the users. So to override public get all users, open close, and here I need to call the CRUD method is return find all method. This CRUD method will help you to write the code of select straw from table name, which is helps to show all the records from the table. For the list, I need to add the import statement. So kindly everyone please check whenever you type list or any other package class files name, you need to put the import statements. So these are all the two methods I'm implementing. Get all users and save this. So for working with two methods, I need to create a user controller class. So go to the controller package and right click, go to new, select the class user controller, click on finish, and here you need to set this is the REST controller, so I can set the annotation REST controller, and we need to import the statement for REST controller header file, REST controller package name. And yeah, now we can create an object for user service IMPL class. This class can have a two implemented method from user service interface. One is save user. For saving the new record we need to call this, and for retrieving all the record we need to call this get all users. And go to the controller class, and here you can type first of all you need to create an object for user service IMPL class. User service is an object, and set the auto wide annotation. Also import the package of package name for user service IMPL. Now we are creating a new user. I'm creating one method in this controller class. So public, the return type is response entity, which is we already learned in the Spring Boot backend project. Also we need to set the annotation. So user is the we need to set the generic, which is user, and the method name is create user. At you need to pass the parameter, get the parameter from which is the user can give a value in the Postman API, so we need to retrieve it. So for that we creating one parameter for user entity class, and this is we need to annotate this one as request body annotation, because this is requested by the user, so you can put request body annotation. Also we have import statements. So for user body request body annotation we need to import one header file, and user entity class we need to import the user entity class import statement, and for the response entity we need to import one package. That's it. Now we need to return the object which is inserted or not. So for that we need from the user service class, IMPL class, we need to call the save user method. That save user method call the value call the save method. So I'm going to create one temporary object for entity class, user entity class, saved user equal to user service dot. You can call the user service is the object of user service IMPL class. You need to call the save user method and pass the entity class object which is given by the user in the Postman API. Also you need to return that response is successfully done or not, the data can be sent to the database or not, we need to send. So you can create return new response entity, and here you can set to the object set to the object here, that is saved user, which is properly inserted or not, we need to know. And the HTTP status, once the data can be inserted successfully, we need to set to the HTTP status is created. Okay, we have multiple HTTP status, so in that we going to call created, and this is it. And like this we need to create another one method, that is get all the users. So for that I can create get all the users. So list, so the entity class Here you can set the return type of list, and the entity class is a generic type, and you can set the method, one own method here, get all users, and inside here you can call the return the method call, which is get all user from the user service IMPL class. That is two method. And object you can call get all users. That's it, and click on semicolon, click the semicolon, and you need to import the list util package. That's it, and click on save. Now how to call this two methods to the Postman API. So for that only we are using get mapping, post mapping, delete mapping, like this. For inserting the new record we need to set post mapping, so I can set the post mapping here. So inside this post mapping I need to set the URL, which is /users. Also I need to set the import statement also here, which is get mapping, get for retrieving the data. Same users is the URL. That's it. There are two methods which is given. Also we can able to call now. And only one thing is pending. We need to create a database, and we need to connect the database into this project. Now we are ready to run. So go to the MySQL workbench. In MySQL workbench, I'm going to create one database here. So the database name I'm going to give one user test, and click on apply. Simply you can create a database. No worries about table. Table will generate automatically. And come back to the project and close all the things. Yes, now you can go to the second level of package, which is SRC main resource, and here the application.property file. There you can type the connectivity code for database. So first one is spring.data source .url equal to, so that database URL is JDBC MySQL / localhost 3306 / the table name is user test, and then give the username of the database and the password. Spring, in small letter case you need to give. Data source dot username equal to, so I'm given the username is root, and same spring dot data source dot password. I'm given a password as summer at 123, and also spring dot data source. I need to mention the driver class of JDBC. Driver hyphen class hyphen name equal to com dot mysql dot cj dot driver JDBC dot driver. And next I need to set the hypernet dialect spring dot jpa dot properties dot hypernet dot dialect equal to org dot hypernet dot dialect dot mysql dialect. Please check the capital letters, and we need to set the server port number is by default 8080. And finally we need to set the hypernet.dll auto command for creating every time updating the table automatically whenever I'm running the project. .dll .auto equal to update. That's it. I can save. Now I'm ready to run. Finally, one thing is pending. I can open the Postman API. I just want to show you how to insert the record and how the one-to-one mapping automatically working here. Yes, now I'm ready to show. Now we are going to open a main program and right click on run, select Spring Boot app, Now the project is started, and go back to the MySQL workbench and refresh the database and go to check whether the table is created or not. Now the project is successfully run, and the database will get two tables. One is user, another one is profile. So now we're going to see how it does work. So I'm going to insert the data only for the user. From the user, the profile ID helps to send the data to the profile table. So go to the localhost, this Postman API, and here you can type the URL is users, and for retrieving the records you can use the get mapping. So normally the tables are empty, there is no records, so it's telling that empty record. Now I'm going to send the data. How can I send the data for one-to-one mapping relationship of two entity classes for user to the profile? So let's going to see, select the post method and click on body and raw type, and in the text method you can change to JSON, and there in the box you can open close the flower brackets. In the flower bracket you can type the column names of the what are the variables given in the user table. So first one is name, except the ID will get automatic number. So the name variable I'm given Tamil and comma. Next variable is email, I'm given Tamil Selvan 2106 at gmail.com, and then phone number 86100356683, whatever the number you can give, and the next date of birth. You can correctly give the variable name which is given in the entity class. And then you can give, now you can give a now you can give a value for the profile entity class inside here. Inside the user entity class, I hope everyone remembered, we created a profile entity class object. So you can call profile entity class object, and after you can put the flower bracket again. Inside that, in profile entity class we have three variables. One is bio, and the bio is lead technical trainer, and the next one is address, go to share it, and social media link, https://linkedin.com, Tamil Selvan B. That's it, I'm given. So the thing is very clear. So first I'm given a variable values for the user table, user entity class, and second in the profile object I have given a value for the profile entity class. In this I'm just passing the data via the user entity class. So it is automatically stored into the from the user table, it automatically stored into the profile entity class. So this is the best example for understanding the one-to-one mapping. Let's see, the data can be inserted only in the single time we can inserted the value for two tables. Let's see here, this is the value which we added, and this is for profile table also automatically can get the value. I think I missed the address value in the user entity, so that's why it's showing null. That's why it's showing null. anyhow I need to update the address value in the future. So in the upcoming class we're going to add update and delete method and all everything. I hope this video is very clear to understand how to how to the data can be related to one table to another table. So if any doubts, you can put the message in the comment box. I will clear your doubts in next session. So we're going to continue this session with one-to-many mapping in next class. So thank you everyone. Let's wait for the next update.